What's going on, eaters and feeders? My name is Casey Cochran. I'm one of the very proud founders of Fit Food Fresh, Yelp's highest rated meal prep company. And on this channel, we talk about the behind the scenes of the meal prep business, how to start, how to grow, some of the stuff that you're gonna face. In this episode, we're talking about wholesaling, getting your product into other stores and retailers so they can sell your product. Sounds like a good idea, right? Well, we're gonna find out. If you wanna learn about how to start or grow a meal prep, this is definitely the right channel for you. So hit that subscribe button, hit those alerts, and check out the links below. In the show descriptions, I've got some links that'll get you to a free ebook I wrote on how to start a meal prep business for just $500. I'll give you a free order tracking system that I created. It'll handle up to 620 clients per week. Billing, credits, packing, production, all that fun stuff is all in there. We've also got a private Facebook group. It's like a think tank for people who are really serious about moving forward with starting or growing their meal prep business. I invite you to check out that. Again, check out the links below. There's information on all that. But now that we've got that out of the way, let's get into the episode.
Welcome to our channel where we go behind the scenes for meal plan company Fit Food Fresh and other local businesses across South Florida. Make sure you hit the subscribe and alerts so you never miss a video, and hit us with any questions or suggestions.
In the private group the other day, we were discussing wholesaling. And while it seems like a great opportunity, I want to cover some of the things a lot of people don't consider if they've never been in a wholesale relationship. First, let's define wholesaling. Now, what do I mean by that? That means you are going to be manufacturing a product in your kitchen and then selling that to a retail center who then sells that to the consumer. So you're not selling it to the end consumer. Wholesale is when one business sells it to another business, whether it's a manufacturer or a distributor. They sell it to another business who that is the final retail point where it's sold to the end consumer who eats the product, wears the shirt, drives the car, whatever it is. The obvious advantage is you have somebody else putting forth effort to sell your product, which seems like a great thing, right? And you're getting exposure to their captive audience. Let's say, just to keep things simple, let's say the scenario is getting inside a store, a grocery store or something like that. Let's use that for this scenario. Although it could be any business you sell to who then sells to the end consumer. So make it applicable wherever. But in this scenario, let's say there's a grocery store that we want to get our product in. Let's say they're, we're making sandwiches or something like that, or, some of our meals from the meal plan. We want to get in their refrigerator so that somebody who's shopping might pick up a meal. They might pick up 3, they might pick up, 10, but we're moving more units. And what's great about it is you're also buying the stores are buying products in massive quantities from you. They're not ordering 1 or 2 at a time, right? They're going to stock their shelves. So they're going to have a large order come through, and for you, moving meals, that seems like a great thing, right? Well, there's a lot of things to consider. So before you go rushing into trying to tackle a wholesale relationship and get into one of those contracts, I want to tell you some of the negative aspects that we've witnessed in wholesale relationships. Now, there's going to be 2 companies that always come right to the front of my mind when I think about doing wholesale for the food business. One is our former neighbor, hint, hint, former, and another one is a larger meal prep company down here in South Florida. I'm not going to say their name, and you'll see why later, but basically both of these companies got their products into Whole Foods. And a lot of people think Whole Foods is the end all be all, right? If you were to get your food or your product on their shelves, selling it to their audience, you're just on the road to success, right? Shark Tank is going to be, throwing you all sorts of offers or, whatever your fantasy is. Well, not quite. One thing a lot of people don't realize when they haven't been in wholesale relationships before is the net terms. Now, Whole Foods and other retails of that size can actually demand things like 90 and 120-day net terms. What does that mean? Well, basically, they have 90 to 120 days to pay an invoice once you give it to them. So you're going to be stocking their shelves for months without receiving any revenue. Sounds like a bummer. Are you able to even afford to produce that much food for that long before having revenue? Maybe, maybe not. Another obstacle is just to be able to offer to supply Whole Foods with meals. You would need a USDA facility in most situations, and I'll tell you how to get around that in a little bit. but a USDA approved facility is basically very high regulations, and they even have a USDA employee who you have to pay a salary to, who basically works on your facility, much like I always use the analogy of it's like hiring a cop to follow you around and give you speeding tickets. You're basically paying for this person to work on your premises to make sure that you're staying in regulation, and you cannot produce food unless this person is in the facility.
Hey guys, I wanted to take a quick break to hear a word from our sponsor, me. Now, if this is your first time on my channel, welcome. My name's Casey. I teach people how to start and grow successful meal prep businesses. If that's something you're interested in, which I assume it is because you're watching this, subscribe and hit the alerts. You're also going to want to check out the links in the notes below. If you're looking to learn more about this, I've got a free mini course, I've got a free ebook, I've got a free order tracking system that'll hold up to 620 different clients a week. Plenty of stuff to at least get you started. If you've already started, or if you're serious about getting started, I invite you to also check out those links. That'll get you access to me. That'll get you access to the private group, the Meal Plan Mafia. It's like a brain trust of people who are in the meal prep business figuring it out. We believe that we can achieve more together, sharing our experiences, than any of us could individually by ourselves. Software, bags, containers, consulting, all sorts of stuff that you're gonna love having access to if you're serious about being successful in the meal prep business. But that's enough for me. Let's get back to our show.
Another thing a lot of people don't consider is forced returns. In their policies, anything that they don't sell, in many cases, you have to eat, so to speak. And there's no way for you to predict how many returns you're going to be faced with at the end of that 90 or 120 day period. On top of that, they want to make money off of your product, right? So while you are going to be selling a massive quantity, the margins are going to get a bit thinner on your side. Coupled with the fact that you're going to be forced to buy back the returns, it might be a very expensive endeavor to hold out for 90 to 120 days and find out that you might be just above breaking even. Typical retailers are going to want to make 20 to 40% while still providing a price that is competitive, right? So that means you have about that much room for all of your costs plus a small sliver of profit, which is really hard to pull off when you're making meals like we do. All right, now let's talk about how to get around those pesky USDA guidelines, restrictions, and red tape, all that mess. Well, look up in your state, because it will differ from state to state, cottage foods or cottage food law. It'll be something around that terminology. Basically, these are things that are often made at home. We're talking hard candies and baked goods. Think about stuff that you'd be making for a bake sale or something like that at church or at school, right? Basically, the cottage food law is a loophole that allows you to participate in bake sales and all sorts of little things where you're going to be making food at home. Now, it's going to be food that doesn't have to be refrigerated. That's why there aren't tight regulations. And it's not so much a loophole as it is just lower risk foods, right? You're thinking cookies and hard candies, and you can even make, I think, like some gummies and things like that, stuff that doesn't have to be in refrigeration. So if it's not handled properly, there's still a very low likelihood that anybody's going to get sick. Now, this is why you'd be able to manufacture these things and sell them to a wholesaler, again, because the risk is so much lower. You wouldn't need the USDA facility. So, hint, hint, if you were to start making a protein brownie or a vegan gummy worm or something like that, you'd be able to wholesale through a store or even Whole Foods. In fact, we've got a friend locally, FroPro. Look this product up, FroPro, FROPRO. Very cool. I'm sure they'd actually be able to wholesale to you, so you could sell this product to your clients. And it's a very unique product. It's hard to describe. It's kind of like a cold, frozen, or refrigerated peanut butter square protein kind of post-workout snack, and it's all natural and all good and yummy. They have a bunch of different flavors, including one that I found the most surprisingly awesome was their mint flavor. It's like mint and peanut butter, which doesn't seem like it would work, but it works so well. Anyway, this snack is made right here in Boca Raton by Matt and Chelsea. And Matt and Chelsea, husband and wife, making this food locally. They're actually in Whole Foods here locally. Like I said, you can sell this to your clients as well. They're able to do this without having a crazy USDA facility because all of the ingredients that they use are very low risk items. They're, things that don't need to necessarily be refrigerated. While this product is best refrigerated, it's just, basically peanut butter, nut butters, and some other, flavors. I'm not sure exactly what's in there, but it's all stuff that if you left it in your car for a few weeks, you could probably still eat it. Think, while it would make a mess and probably not be ideal, brownies, cookies, any type of candies. I've made candy in the past, and it's a very simple process, and a lot of people make candies from home and taffies and all sorts of stuff. It doesn't have to be refrigerated, and you can do a version of it that makes it applicable for your menu. Like I said, a protein brownie, or some kind of vegan treat, or plant-based thing, or whatever. You make it for your menu. You also put it in either some local stores, or go for the big boys like Whole Foods if you have the stomach and the guts for it. And essentially all you really have to do is break even on it, right? Because someone, while it might not be super effective at converting people, you never know. Someone might buy your protein brownie from the local grocery store, see your website on there, and convert into one of your meal prep clients, right? So in that case, even if you're just breaking even, it's basically a passive lead generation technique. Now, if you know your math and you negotiate correctly, you should be able to also turn a profit, which is the ideal situation. Now, is that worth enough of your time and focus to make the special manufacturing happen, chase down the relationship, set all that stuff up? I don't know. It might be. For some people, it might be a bit outside your wheelhouse, so please don't get distracted just because there's an opportunity. And that's something you'll probably hear me say a lot, because there's a lot of opportunities, especially in this business. But if you keep going outside your wheelhouse, you get spread too thin, it could be very dangerous. I've seen a lot of companies down here who have gone and basically overextended themselves. Oh, the reason I didn't want to mention the company's name before. So the company, the other meal plan company local here in South Florida who got into Whole Foods, well, after all that time that they spent hunting down that contract and jumping through all those hoops and making all those arrangements so that it was possible for them to supply Whole Foods, they did supply Whole Foods for a time. They were putting their meals in there, and they had kind of a grab and go situation. I think it was just locally in South Florida. But
What's going on, guys? Quick self-promotion. Just want to make sure you guys are subscribed, you guys got the alerts on, and I want to make sure you guys have already checked out the links in the notes below. I've got a private group, I've got a website, I've got a mini course, I've got an ebook, I've got software, order tracking system, consultation, sourcing materials, so much stuff. You better be checking out those links. If you're watching this video and you haven't checked out those links, you're not serious. Come on, what are you doing? Get it together. Pulling up to Fit Food Fresh now. Let's get back to the show.
unfortunately, they had an issue with a listeria outbreak, and go ahead and look that one up if you haven't had your food handler's license and aren't familiar with that yet. But listeria is not a fun thing to have your name attached to, so you could probably actually, while I'm not going to say that meal plan's name, if you were to do a little bit of research with some of the keywords I've mentioned, you wouldn't have any issue finding them. So when you get a big time exposure ad like that, it could actually hurt your reputation tremendously. And now it's something you have to worry about anytime somebody Googles you in the future. I'm sure it's been a couple years now. I'm sure they still hear about it. Probably every day there's somebody mentioning something about, hey, I Googled your name, this is what I found. You know, is the food still safe? Or I heard you guys lost the Whole Food contract because of this. It's one of the big dangers. Now, all the extra employees that you hired, all the extra infrastructure, you lose that contract, you're gonna have to lay some people off or find another contract to replace that really quick because you just lost a whole lot of revenue. And now, like what I heard with them, they were making really small margins, so they were having trouble even being profitable with that relationship. And then as soon as they lost it, I think I heard that they had to lay off 40 people on a Friday. And that's a horrible thing to do. You never want to have such a large piece of your business on something that's not going to be stable or something that's out of your control. While there are definitely upsides to some of these ambitions, it's something you're always going to want to be very cautious about before you rush towards it and spend a lot of time and energy trying to make it happen. Sometimes the worst thing is to get what you wish for, right? All right, that's all I got for you guys. Again, subscribe, hit the alerts if you haven't done so already. Check out those links. As I mentioned, I've got a bunch of good stuff, probably even more than I remember to mention in the intros in there. Free ebook is enough the free order tracking system, that should be enough, but there's also the Facebook private group, which is really just a mastermind, a nice think tank, and we're really coming up with some great conversations, some great different positions and experiences that we're all able to learn from. I can't stress enough how awesome it is. Thank you guys for being part of the group, those who are watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode.